Hi guys, what's up? Today we're going to be playing Soviet Republic Workers and Resources. So let's get right into that. There's a lot of different maps you can choose from, but we're going to be going with the New Republic map for simplicity, because I already know location and resources. In terms of settings, we're just going to go with easy money. We're going to turn power on to add a little more difficulty. I would put water on, but that mode pisses me off. And definitely not waste, because that can get a little annoying. We will turn on maintenance though, for a little extra in there. And we're going to also turn up global events so we can get more going on. And other than that, we're going to keep the year around 1970. We're going to have research on, and not much other than that. So let's get right in. Alright, so as you can see, this is our map that we're working with. It's pretty big, not too small. We've got water access, a few mountains there, and some ponds. Now, we need to choose an ideal spot to put our city, and we need to know where resources are so we're not far away. So for example, there's a coal node. Oh, that's the wrong spot. Right up around here. That's a nice little coal node, and then up over here, there's iron. So we obviously want to put our city somewhere in between those two, and then we've also got oil here. So for our city, we're going to choose this spot right here because it's got some water right there, put a little bridges through, and it's got all this nice room. We're going to be using grid mode so we can make a much more neat city, as well as also it shows us terrain and everything. So let's go ahead and start here by adding a few roads and all. These roads should be very helpful. I was thinking of just using the sidewalk roads, but that's maybe for a little later when we are going further into it. So for now, we're just going to use basic asphalt, as that's good enough for now. As you can see right there, we've got a little bit of space that we can already use. We can put some stuff in there. We've got some more grid space right here. We're going to try and keep our city a little more grid-like, so we're going to build our buildings in these grids, which should allow us to make it a lot more organized and neat. And once we've done building all these grids, we can start putting some actual buildings in. We've got all sorts of different buildings we can put in, of course. So let's just get these done real quick. Alright, now that we've got these grids done, you can see we've got buildings like this. We've got a pub, because our citizens require a little bit of alcohol. We've got cinema, which they require for entertainment, but we're going to set that down right up over here, because that's a nice little spot. Then we've got our shopping malls. As you can see, there's tons of different ones. There's these big malls, then we've got these smaller ones, and then we've got these very tiny ones, which are better for like really tiny towns, but that's not what we're doing. So we're going to use this one. It's one of the bigger, smaller ones. We're going to just place it right down here. And then next, we need sports fields. We're going to use the football field because we don't need a giant field like that. Not yet, at least. The football field is decent sized and offers just enough for us. So we're just going to place them down a little grid like this. We're going to try and keep a lot of our commercial buildings around this area. I probably just pronounced commercial wrong. Commercial, whoever, it doesn't matter. But we're gonna just finish pathing these up, and then we can get into making our buildings. Residential buildings, of course. Of course, first though, we gotta place our hospitals and our fire departments. These buildings are essential to keeping our citizens safe and healthy. For example, we're gonna put our hospital right up here, as that's a nice little spot, since we don't need to put it right directly in town, but it needs to at least be within vicinity to the residential buildings. So we're going to path this area up, and then we can connect all these pathways up. So we're going to path all these buildings real quick, as pathways are pretty essential to allowing our citizens to travel around the city. And we need to put these pathways in a good area, because if we don't put them in a good area, then our citizens might not be able to travel far enough, because citizens in this game are kind of lazy when it comes to finding good walking paths. as you could build them just a block away, and if there's not a good path connection, they just simply will not walk to it. So we gotta be a little careful with how we're pathing things up here. We gotta make sure we're pathing them well, as well as also connecting our pathways up, as we don't want to have tons of different pathways. But that should be good for now. Now we're just going to place down our fire station. There's a lot of different sizes. Like there's the giant fire station, the small one, and then like the standard version, which is what we're going to be going for today, since we don't really need that much. I would love to put it in that spot, but you know, we can't put a road connection easily there, so we're going to put it up here. This is a nice little spot that's good and close enough to our citizens to where we don't need to build any more paths, and not that close to our city, because we want to kind of keep a lot of room for civilian buildings, mostly residential. Then we've also got our universities here, and also the headquarters of the Communist Party. These buildings are all essential to building research and all that, but we don't need that at this moment, since right now for this video we're just kind of focusing on getting basic industry, a little bit of basic industry set up, as well as also our civilian population. On the next video though, we'll probably get a little more into industry. There is a good chance though that we might start a little bit of research today, but we'll have to see. So we're just going to connect all these buildings up. I'm using these large buildings primarily just because they have more citizen capacity, and I don't have many buildings unlocked right now or researched. So this will just have to do for now. As you can see here, we've got a few of these buildings. We're going to place this one down right here because it's just easier to set up the road network that way. I'm mispronouncing words. And with these roads will be used to connect up our grid later on. I'm going to call these interior roads. These roads are just, they run in between our buildings and all that. Then we've got our main roads, which run on the outside, connecting up areas. So we're just going to connect up all these pathways once again, so our civilians can actually get places. This is going to be a little bit of a tough one though, because sometimes, you know, you get hitboxes. The hitboxes can be a little weird, which can get a little annoying. Like we can't put our pathway back there, but that is just because there's a building there, which does make perfect sense. You can get lucky positioning sometimes with your pathways, but you can also get unlucky. Like right there, we can't put a pathway because the road isn't extended out enough to put a little waypoint. Like as you can see here, our civilians in that building have access to everything they need. Oh wait, before we can keep going though, we do need to set up our power, since I just forgot I enabled that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a large power pylon, we're going to take it out this way, and we're just going to keep taking it out this way till we get here. Then we're going to bring it up towards our city, but we don't want to bring it past our city, we just want to keep it near our city. We're going to keep our power transformers right in the city though, just so we don't have to spend like a lot of money on power lines. We're going to orientate it like this a little so it's easier to connect up to. And now we just need to set up our substations. We're going to put ours right here, since that gives us complete connection. Then we're going to choose this power line because it has the highest capacity. And we're just going to bring it right up over here and connect it straight up to our transformer, which then will allow us to import power directly from nearby borders, which we're gonna need to buy that though, which is a little unfortunate. But once we get good coal production and a nice industry setup, we can just build a coal power plant to power ourselves, which should provide enough power for a bit till we start building more, and we're gonna need more power. But for now, just importing should do, since we don't have the right industry to really set up power production. As you can see here though, we do want to build a few little monuments though, so our people stay a little more towards the government. So we're just going to build this Lenin statue, and okay, so I accidentally made all these roads gravel, so we're just going to upgrade them to concrete, or asphalt, because they have, as you can see, gravel roads do not, like, each pathway has a maximum amount citizens can travel on it. And gravel roads do not have as much as asphalt roads. which is why we're gonna pick that up. And I keep calling them roads, but they're not called roads. I am making a bit of a mistake today. Just, you know, a little tired right now. But that should be fine. So we're just gonna purchase all of our vehicles so we can get fire department and police running. Police? Oh my god. So we can get our hospitals running. Yeah, like I said, I'm just being a little goofed off today. We're gonna build some extra houses up here to provide a little more residential, which should be good for now. But as you can see right there, we can't really put our roads like right in front of where pathway's connecting, as the game doesn't allow for it. But we're just gonna need to do a little more pathwaying here. Might as well call this game Pathway Simulator with the amount you have to do. It's a lot of pathways. But other than that, we should be mostly good on pathways, except for a little few. We still can't put a pathway there though because of the junction, which really sucks because I would like to put a pathway there so we can kind of connect up our residential to the bar a little better. But for now, that should be good on pathways. But we do need to want to get coal production started. We will start a little bit of coal production in this video, so we're gonna find a nice little spot. As you can see, there's coal, the source quality. We want to pick the best quality spot, so we're just gonna kind of go for 69 because it doesn't really go up to 60 or 70. And now we just need to place down the processing plant, which should be able to process. We want to put it in the right orientation though, so the road is facing a good way and the pathways, but to where it isn't too hard to connect it up. And then we should just be able to connect that right up, and then connect them up with roads right here, which then allows for us to set up or bring vehicles over to our coal so we can set it up properly. Now we're going to need somewhere to store this coal, and as you can see, I kind of made a bit of a mistake and I accidentally put the output over there, but we should still be able to get the output out of there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we can still make it work. I was thinking for a second we'd have to redo our whole Argeti system, which just gets a little annoying. For now, we're gonna finish up these roadways. We're gonna connect this road all the way up to our city, so we can bring vehicles down here. Okay, we don't want to bring it that far. We just want to connect it up to that main road. Okay, let's try and... I want to keep these roads centered on the grid a little, so let's see if we can try and fix this. There we go. Okay, that's a little weird. It doesn't let us curve on it, so we're just gonna bring it out further then. So let's try and see here. Alright, there we go. I think I did just make a little bit of there. Let's try and connect this up. I do want to curve this, but oh, you know, we could have just kept it like that to connect it up. Yeah, we could have just connected it up like that. Well, you know, it's fine. We can just connect it up like this. It works anyways, because we want to be able to keep our cities kind of well connected with our roads. So let's just set this up real quick. All right, yeah. Now you can see we got all of the space right here, where we can put some extra buildings or just leave it open as greenery area. Although it doesn't really help. So we gotta bring people over to this coal mine. So the best way to do that early game is just using buses. Later on, we could build train lines, but we also do have to power this coal area. We could use high voltage, but I think we're just gonna use low voltage for this, as it's not that far away, so we can just set up a low voltage line, and we're not putting that many buildings over there, so it's not gonna need to take that much electricity. Later on though, we are definitely going to build more high voltage power lines so we can get that power running to our much longer distance and more consuming areas. As you know, once we set up that iron production, because of how far it is, we could just use trains to bring people there. But I have also been thinking of maybe building a city there. We'll just have to see when we start setting that up. But as you can see right there, we've got a little bit of power running here now. But we don't have workers, which means we need to use methods to get them there. As you can see, there's train platforms, and then there's also bus stops, and they can use their own cars if you set that up. But we aren't setting that up yet. But for now, we just need to find a nice little spot to put the bus stop. Right here might do. No, that doesn't fit. Power lines. So, ooh, you know, maybe we want to keep both road connections connected, so let's try right up here. That might be a nice little spot. We'll expand that road out just a little further. What is going on there? That's a little weird. Oh, there we go. Okay, now that we got that road expanded out, we can connect this up. Then we gotta do a little more Path Simulator 2019. 'Cause that's what they should really be calling this game. Little farm simulator joke right there. And now we've got people running in there, so we need to build another one over here so they can actually be dropped off somewhere, because it's not like we're going to drop them off straight at the factory building. We can do that, but that's not really what we're doing, because we want to keep the actual factories vehicle areas not clogged up. We want to, you know, be able to have vehicles, utility vehicles to go there without clogging it up, like, you know, trucks and everything. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to finish up some more pathing, and we're going to connect up all of this so our citizens can just walk straight over there. And now we just need to get actual buses. So, you know, there's two different kinds of road depots. There's bigger ones and there's smaller ones. We're just going to use the smaller one for now. We could put it right in here, but I think we're going to put it right out here on the other side of the road. We might keep some of our industrial buildings on this side of the road. It depends, really, on how much space we have. Well, let's just wait for that to be built. And now we can buy some buses. For the buses, we could use this bus, but we want a bus that's fast and also has good capacity. Like, we've got this bus here, but that bus is kind of expensive, so why don't we go down here and use this one, because this might be an ideal bus. We're gonna just buy 3 of them, because that should be good for now. We're not bringing that many people over, so we're gonna use set up both these stops. Now we just gotta copy this over to the other buses, and then they should be good to go. With that all going, we can now, oh, you know what? These buses do need gas. I did forget about that. So let's just set up a quick gas station. We're gonna we want to use this bigger one, as we're gonna be getting more vehicles later on, and as they need a refuel, it might clog up the station, so let's just find a nice little spot here. Oh, there we go. It's still got power connection and everything. See, now this gas station doesn't actually require employees. I don't know why people are walking to it, though. That's a little weird. But now our buses can start watching. Let's just watch one of these and watch them go. And see it going and get their gas, and then they should be going and picking up the civilians. We just gotta make sure they're actually picking up civilians, because I have had times... What the heck? Some ghost buses, but I have had times where the buses have been a little weird and not picked up anyone at a stop, but it should work. If it doesn't work, then I'd just genuinely be surprised. Very surprised, actually. But okay, yeah, no, it worked. We got some workers picked up here, and we can go back over to the station. But now it'll bring these now the bus will bring these workers over here, so they can then start actually, you know, harvesting coal. But now we want to get our food production. This is something we're going to get a little bit into today, but we're not going to get that far into it. We're just going to set up some fields so we can get the crops just going a little. So we're just going to, personally, I think I like choosing big fields because they have good output. And as well as also there's just like it's better because I don't want to just build a bunch of small fields. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set up these fields right here. We're not going to build that many for now, since we've only got a few people. Very small amount of people, actually. We're not even in the thousands yet. So we're going to set up all these fields. Then once we get those set up, we'll just have to give them road connections, and we can set up our farms and silos so we can get grain moving. But let's see if we can cram another field right up here. Yeah, yes we can. Okay, we could use gravel roads, but as well as also there's dirt roads, which are dirt cheap. But we're going to use asphalt just for the sake of our vehicle's speed, as they move much slower on gravel and dirt. Very slow on dirt. It's just going to take longer to get... Oh, okay, we made a little mistake here. Because you can see right there, because they're both there and one of them's not already connected, they want to connect to each other. So we're going to delete all these farm fields that are in the way real quick, and we're going to move them back just enough to where they can connect, and we're going to put them aside a little so they're not like just touching each other in terms of their vehicle connection. So we're going to use asphalt, but it looks like the rest of the farm fields are just using dirt, so we might just use that for the rest of them, but we'll put asphalt on this one. You know, just so it blends in a little with the other ones, but I'm not going to be bothered to change that other one back. We're going to keep the main roads on this area, just dirt though, or asphalt. Making a lot of mistakes here with my pronunciation. But we're going to keep these ones asphalt for vehicle speed, and then we'll just keep the actual roads that connect up to the fields as dirt. Save a tiny bit of money doing that, as well as also, you know, it just blends in just with the fields in general. We're going to replace this little field back here, make sure it's not clipping the other ones. Now we need to use our farms. You can see there's different kinds of farms. There's small farms, there's big farms, and medium farms. But we're going to use the medium farm because we don't need that many vehicles right now, and it's also not as expensive. And we just got to connect these roads up, which should work for now. And there we go. Now we also, oh yeah, we got a new combine unlocked right there. That should be helpful. And we're going to place down a grain silo. We're going to do one with rail connection. So later on, when we need to actually move this grain, we can use trains to just move a bunch of it at once. Since we're probably not going to put our food factory right next door. Well, I mean, we might. It depends if our buildings, civilian buildings, get close enough. Or if we just set up a bus stop. But now we just got to assign all these fields, which should, now they can actually work on it, but we need to bet some vehicles. We also want to buy a little bit of liquid fertilizer so they can fertilize these fields a lot better. And then we can also buy some combines. First though, we're going to buy some covered hauls. I like using this covered haul, and I also like buying 4 of each with the medium station, so I have a good amount. Like, we're going to buy 4 trucks, we're going to buy 4 tractors, and then we're going to buy 4 different sowers, or whatever it is, harvesters. And there is that new harvester that I unlocked, but this one's just better. It has much faster harvesting speed, so we're going to go with that. Now we just need to, see, you know, this building does need power connection. You don't have to give it power connection, but I just will for when I do build, because I'm going to be expanding my city, and it's going to be expanding other ways. So we're just going to do this for now. Should work. We're going to bring this over here. Coal plant may not have power temporarily, but that's fine. But as you can see, now the building has power, we just need to give them fertility. Those fields need to be a little more fertile. But they're going to start sowing these fields, and we can go back over to our coal plant over here. Yeah, we got a lot more coal coming in now. Just not as much, because it's not running at maximum speed, which is kind of a shame. But now we can just grab our electricity, because as you can see, we've got coal plants here. It produces a good amount of electricity, not that much, but we don't need it yet. If we go over here, no wait, iron's not here. Oh, silly me. Iron's up over here. Wait, oh, here it is. We won't be setting up iron production yet today, but as you can see, like, this is definitely where we're going to build it. There are other spots that have iron production. We also can't build our steel mills yet because we need to research that with our technical universities. We're gonna just, we may build our technical university today. You know what, yeah, we will do it today. We're gonna build our technical university so we can start a little bit of research. It depends though, because we will need to make sure we have enough intelligent people, because we need higher education workers and actually to research stuff. But we should be able to just get a few more houses in here. Yeah, let's build some extra houses. Let's get this road in first. I don't want to make that mistake again. So let's just build the road first and connect this building out first. Now we'll build the other houses. And boom, and boom. I hope you guys are ready for some more Pathway Simulator, because that's what we're going to be doing. Yay! Gotta love pathways. It can get very annoying, but it's not that bad compared to trying to set up other things in this game. At least this time, though, we didn't pick gravel pathways on accident. That would have been a big no-no, as that's just not fun when that happens. But we should be able to, as you can see, we can kind of finesse the system a little bit. Why isn't that's not connecting right? Okay, we're just gonna start off by building this side first, but you can see we can kind of finesse the pathways to fit in right there. Sometimes the hitboxes can be a little weird though, like I said before, where pathways can just be weird. And I built that too close. Whoopsie, but it's easy to fix. We can just rebuild the pathways, not that bad. Yeah, we kind of have to like position our cursor right so it goes to the right spot, like, because sometimes we're not able to aim at where we want it to go. We have to aim like above or below or to the side for it to actually work. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna connect all these up. We want to have high connectability with our city so our civilians can actually walk places. Like you can see here, civilians can reach all their different locations. They can reach the shopping centers, the bars, the fields, and the university. But we don't have enough scientists because, as you can see, each research takes a bit of work days for it to work. And we want to get more scientists before we do that. So, you know, we can see we've got all these different kinds of flats. You can see we don't have many people here, so we can invite a little bit of scientists, but that's not a very sustainable way, as that costs us money. It's something we don't want to be spending our time on. But we're gonna try and see if we can create another one of these medium buildings in. Doesn't fit right there, but maybe we can fit the other one. Yeah, we can. It's a perfect little fit. Now we just gotta do a little more pathways through here. Can't bring the pathway there though, so we're just gonna go right next to it. And there we go. You can see in the background our buses are still going. That's good. It's always a good thing to see. I'm gonna see, yes, we're gonna connect all these pathways up. A lot of this game is just gonna be building pathways when it comes to your cities. Mostly, like, if you're building cities like how I am, you're gonna need to do a lot of pathways. Just tons of pathways. But oh, we can't put a pathway right there. Let's see if we can't try and fit that. No? Oh, yeah, you can see what I'm talking about there. The hitboxes in this game can be a little annoying sometimes. You can see right there, that little edge means we can't put a pathway right there, even though it's just barely touching. Which does kind of suck, but it sucks to suck. We gotta work with it. But as you can see, we finally got our population into the thousands, which means we can get more workers in our factories. Our fields are growing and sowing. Well, they're not growing yet. They're just sowing now. But for now, we can just take a look at all of our different things. I don't think I plan on really getting that much done in this video so far, because I do want to like kind of spread this out between videos, and I also don't want to spend too much time on one video, as I do want to have multiple videos, as I don't really want to like build it all in one video. That's kind of just a bit much for me, mostly because first off, we gotta get them views and we gotta get them likes. You know, I want to start making some money, but that probably won't happen anytime soon. But so for now, we're just gonna build some stuff. We can also see here clothing factories. That's something we can make later on. We've got clothing factories. We've got all sorts of factories we can build. But then we've also got to look at our money in general. As you can see, we used to have 10 million, but now we don't. But you can see all of our finances. We kind of spending money and all that. We have to buy power, but power is not that expensive. Main thing that's really expensive though is just the food and all that, as well as also manpower. So if we cut back over here, you can see over at our research center, we could start we could start that, but we don't really want to yet because we don't have as many people. To do that, we need to build bigger houses, which means getting prefab panels, which means concrete utilization. which we need to research. But here, we're going to set it up to where we have 7 guys running maximum, so we still get a little bit of people being taught, so we can get extra smart people. And you can also see, this is the headquarters of the Communist Party. This is where we research stuff like container standards and secret police. But we're not going to be getting into that today. We're just going to be getting into our technical. Then we've also got the medical university. That just helps us research more medical things like alcohol reduction, higher birth rate, lower birth rate. Then there's also orphanage and education, but we don't have that enabled. And then over here we've got the actual secret police buildings, but once again we don't have that research, so we can't actually use it because we need the headquarters of the Communist Party, but we don't have that yet. But as you can see here, we're not making that much progress on research because we don't have that many people. Let's just go check on our coal again, see how we're doing. But yeah, those are the main buildings we need right there. Those prefab buildings are what's gonna make us some real money. Well, not really make us money, but that's gonna make us more citizens, which then will make us money. But let's see, so we do have our railways here. Like, we can set up our railways connecting around and all that. We got our Getty loading. We're not gonna get into railways today, though. That'll be for later. We might build like a small bit, but over here, we gotta bring our railways from there to there. We don't have any actually connection here, but you can see things like coal is not that expensive, but clothes in this game are strangely worth a lot. There's probably an explanation for it, but they're just worth a good amount. Don't exactly know why, though. Clothes are worth more than uranium in this game, which is the strangest thing in my opinion. Really weird. I don't know why. But, I guess if it works, it works. Pretty sure uranium is a little more resourceful, though. But I guess people do need clothes. So, we got our sewing going on here. These fields take a while to sow and grow, but once they do, you get a lot out of it, so it'll last us. Let's build a few more houses here, so we can get just a little bit more population in here. Like, although we can't build too much population at once, because then our shops might not be able to handle it. But for now, that shop should be fine. So let's build some more housing in here. This should allow us to get some more people going. Once we get these more people, we can, run more factories. As the more people we have, the more factories we can run. And factories are pretty important in this game, and so are people, hence the name Soviet Republic Workers and Resources. Those are the most important things. Well, let's get a little more pathways in here. Gotta love them. I know you probably love pathways. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you just have a fetish for pathways. I don't know, because I don't know you. So I don't know, maybe I know you. I don't think I do. Unless you're just some random person that I somehow met someday on the street. But let's just get a little more pathways in here. We gotta make sure we got all of our pathways connected, as pathways are the only way our people can actually access things. And let's check. Well, you look at that. These people can't get alcohol, which means they're gonna get angry because they need alcohol. So we need to fix our pathways. We could try this, but I don't think that's going to do much. So what we need to really do, though, is connect that building up with more pathways. And to do that, still not connected. So we need to build some better pathways. So we're going to run a pathway right out front, which does mean it's going to be harder to build houses right there because they won't have their road connection. But I don't even think we're going to build some houses right there. We'll keep those trees there. Maybe the Lorax will like that. But these trees, it looks a little nice. We don't really need to put houses there. So for now, we can just put them right here. That should work. For some reason, the pathways are doing the thing again, where they just don't like to connect sometimes. I don't know why, but let's just connect this up here. See if we can't make that look a little nicer. No, we're just gonna have to put it like that. If it works, it works. So let's just see. Yep, now they can access the bar again. That's good. They kind of do need beer. I mean, they don't really need it, but it makes them happy. So let's put another monument in here. You know, get a little more Soviet loyalty. Alright, yeah, there's a few buildings getting that. You can also see we can build stuff like fountains. Like we can place a little fountain right here. You know, it looks nice. It doesn't really do that much other than just looking nice. So, you know, we got a fountain. And then we got all this extra space right here where we can, you know, put some bushes for bush things, I guess. And we could always put houses in there, like small little houses, but we don't really need to. We can put a little house in here, though. Get some extra people, as we've already reached a population of 2,000. That's nice. But it's not enough. We're gonna need a lot more people later on once we start building bigger stuff. Let's just connect these people up to the bus stop and also the hospital. As, you know, people do kind of need hospitals to live. As if they don't have a hospital, they kind of die. We've also got a lot more coal in here now. That's a lot more coal. Still not filling up that much, but, you know, we still haven't gotten our iron yet. That is going to be very important for later. That's not the only iron node I know about, though. There's also one, I think, over here. Is it further back? It's somewhere around here. There it is. Okay, yeah, there's also an iron node up there. And then I'm pretty sure there's another coal node. Like, you can also see, with the right research, we can use these things, which will tell us where the ores are. But, yeah, I am pretty sure there's more than one coal node that I know about here. There should be also one right up here, if I remember. Yes, there is. I remember I've used that coal node before. I don't really use it that much, though, because we've already got this coal node. The only time where you really need to build multiple mines is when you start consuming more than you're producing, as mines kind of have a limit to how much they can, you know, give. You can also see our sports fields over here. They do have a limited number of people that can actually see them and, you know, go to them. But, we don't need to really do much there for now. Like, we could build giant stadiums, but we don't need that. We can also build sports halls, but we don't need that right now either, because we have enough people. We have enough people to where it doesn't really matter. And we can build a little bit of rails. Like, as you can see, these are the kind of railways we can work with. We got these rails. We're definitely not going to be setting up a full rail system today, though. But, you know, we've got these little bits of rails we can just, you know, show. And we are definitely going to set up our railways through here, but it's kind of all we might have for today. There's not much else. We've already got a lot of our buildings set up. We've got multiple buildings set up. We've got all sorts of different buildings. We've got our residential setup and all that. We could build more houses, but I don't think we will. And then we've also, you know, there's also tourism and all that we can set up later on. You know, airports and everything to bring all these tourists in. But that's kind of all we need for today. I think that's good for today. Thank you guys for watching. This is a series I plan on continuing. And tomorrow or another time, next video, we'll probably work more on industry. So that's all for today, and I will see you all later.